The Jake Asman Show will begin shortly. Thanks to all these great Patreon members who help support the show. Get your super chats ready. Jake will be here in just a moment. If you love the New York Jets, this is the place to be. And now, the Jake Asman Show.
Former Jets QB Boomer Esiason has weighed in on Aaron Glenn's future and offered a huge prediction for how it could all unfold. We'll get to that, and we got Dom C on the show. We're talking Senior Bowl. We're going to be broadcasting live from Mobile all next week. It's the Jake Asman Show. Let's hit it and get it started.
I let the organization down, and I let the players down, and that burns me. It really does. This season's on me, and we're going to work our ass off to get this shit exactly where it needs to be.
A new chapter for the Jets has started. Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji are tasked with shaping the future of this franchise. Will they be the ones to finally get it right? We will be here for every step of the journey on the Jake Asman Show, breaking down all the storylines, every game, and everything in between. Please subscribe and hit the like button below. Super chats, baby. Cut the line. The Jake Asman Show starts right now.
Here we go, Jet fans. Show number 2 on the day. Hit the like button. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Joining us right now is a guy I'll be spending a ton of time with all next week. It's our guy from JetsXFactor.com and the Talking Jets crew, Dom C. Dom, I'm excited to experience my first ever Senior Bowl with you. We got a lot to talk about. What's going on, man?
Hey, Jake. I'm happy that you're coming down. It's like Christmas in January for some. For me, let's just hope we can get out.
Yeah, that's the big thing. Can we get out on Monday? And it's funny. I was talking with some of the guys on the Jets beat. They're all flying out Monday as well. Everyone's wondering the same thing. Are we going to be able to make our plane on time? Is the flight going to happen so we actually could get down to Mobile in the first place?
Yeah. Like I said, the goal is complete the first leg of the trip. We can make it work once we're down in Atlanta. So,
well,
I'm looking forward to it.
We'll have live coverage every day. Dom will be on every day. Dylan will be on every day. We put in a bunch of prospect requests. Dom helped me out with that. I go, Dom, take a look at the list, and you tell me which players we should request based on how likely they are to potentially be Jets. So we will have a great group of prospects and other guests on the show all next week. Dom, I want to get into some comments that Boomer Esiason made on his radio show on FAN. They're talking about the Jets. They're talking about Aaron Glenn. And Boomer had this to say about the future of the Jet franchise.
Jets are going to be heavy in the draft. I would think defense. And I would also think some free agent signings on defense. I think the offense has got, obviously, they have to figure out the most important position. I wouldn't be surprised if they take a quarterback in the second round, one of these guys that tends to fall a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised, but they have to fix their defense. They also have to figure out who their stopgap quarterback is. Now, if they go on to have another bad year next year, I do not think that the owner will put up with it. I think that they'll end up moving on, and it will be another coaching search because they're going to end up with a very high draft pick, and they're going to have to make a decision. And if Arch Manning is a part of it, and we all believe that he will be, and he is the consensus number 1 pick if he is. I'm not sure if he will be at this point, but I'm just thinking ahead. And I'm trying to think, like, if Arch Manning is there and the Jets go on the tank run again, then if somebody else will be coaching him.
So I do agree. If the Jets are as bad as they were this year or anywhere close to it, there's no way Aaron Glenn survives. It's just so hard to predict. Is Arch Manning as good as what the hype around him is? And Dom, you as a draft guy, is he going to be considered the best quarterback a year from now? And the Jets do have the 3 first-rounders, but there's no guarantee you could get that guy, even if you're awful, as we've seen this year with the Raiders still, based on strength of schedule points, picking in front of the Jets and what is perceived to be a 1 QB draft with Mendoza. So a lot of things have to happen for the Jets to, 1, be awful, which is maybe more likely than that happening than Arch in the first place, but it's certainly possible. And again, this is the situation the Jets find themselves in when year 1 for Glenn was as bad as it was. That's why everyone is already talking about 2027 with the 3 1s and the fact that you're not going to get your long-term answer at QB in all likelihood this year. So all eyes will be on 2027.
Yeah. So Here's where I stand, Jake. I mean, I am pretty adamant that I don't think that Aaron Glenn is the guy that's going to lead this team to the promised land, right? I hope I eat crow on that. And I hope I'm proven wrong, but it would be an outlier. It would be a miracle at this point if he was able to, take that ship that makes large right. What do you say? Wide right turns. It takes a long time to turn.
Turn slow.
Turn slow. Yeah, and kind of about face this thing. You have 31 or 32 expiring contracts. You have no quarterback room whatsoever right now. I mean, you are as thin could be at a lot of key positions. You have a lot of money in free agency, but I don't think that the Jets are going to be a prime destination for some. Sure, you might be able to jet tax and overpay for some people to get in here, but there's a lot of holes that need to be filled. That there's a lot of positions that you need to address, not only through the draft but through free agency as well. A lot of work. I think the odds are probably stacked against Glenn in this regime, and this regime of figuring it out. My question is how quick do you think Woody would pull the trigger, right? A 0-6 start like we did this year, forget it. He's gone. But if it's 3-3, is that enough? Is it, is it a bad start, but he turns it around? Does he wait till the end of the year? I have no idea. What I do know is that banking that we're going to be bad enough for Arch Manning, if Arch Manning comes out, that's a tall proposition. That's a tough proposition. You just don't know what's going to happen. Arch is still very young. I think, on paper right now in January of 2026, I think it's safe to assume that he's going to, probably be, right up there, if not the best quarterback that's going to possibly be in the draft next year. But you saw what happened last year, right? We talked about Nussmeier and Klubnik and Lenora Sellers as can't miss guys. Carson Beck went back to school. It's going to be exactly what he needs to get back into that top half of the first round. Look at this. Look, and we stand here with Fernando Mendoza as probably the only first round quarterback, first round worthy quarterback, maybe another one gets taken. So you just to put all your eggs in the basket of we're going to be bad enough where we can get Arch is a scary proposition for me, man.
I'm with you. Again, nothing's guaranteed. To me, if Glenn can't win games, it's guaranteed he's gone. I don't think he'll survive, after a 3-win season, 5 wins in 2026 and go to Woody and see progress. We won 2 more games and, we have 8 wins now through 2 years. That's easy to predict. And the job would be attractive in theory with the 3 first-rounders if it is a legitimate quarterback class a year from now. And you could pair up that young quarterback with a new head coach. But I don't know if it's going to be Arch. You could speak more to this, Dom. Next year I do think will be a better quarterback class, but the best guy might not be Arch. It could be a plethora of other guys that could be available.
Listen, on paper right now, I think there's legitimately, and I mean this, kind of objectively and from a wide angle, there's probably 5 or 6 guys that you could say, I wouldn't be surprised if they were number 1 quarterbacks. Obviously, I think Arch, the way he finished the year probably is the leader in the clubhouse to be the best quarterback. I think he's got arguably the best skill set, all around, when you tie in, the QB IQ, when you tie in the athleticism, when you tie on the toughness, when you tie in the arm talent, he might have the most skills. There's Dante Moore. We talked about Dante Moore being arguably being in discussion for it this year, at certain times. You got Lenora Sellers, who's going back for another year. Teams are going to fall in love with the traits that he has. And, frankly, I don't think he had as bad of a year as people make it out to be. The numbers and the statistics weren't there. But the offense as a whole was awful. The coaching at South Carolina was pretty bad. They kind of revamped that. So I expect him to make a big splash. Then you got guys like Darian Mensah, who Jake, was my number 2 overall ranked quarterback before he went back to school. Yeah, you have Brendan Sorsby, who's transferred from Cincinnati to Texas Tech. That's just 5. Jordan Maeva at USC. The list goes on and on. CJ Carr at Notre Dame. The kid from Ohio State. There's tons, man. There is tons. So
it's hard It's hard to project. I mean,
Yeah.
this year is the best example of that. You're 1,000% right. As far as Glenn goes, because you and I are aligned, I'd be shocked if this guy ever turns out to be a good head coach. You and I both hope that we're wrong. What does he have to do to be here for that third year, right? Because I think most of us don't anticipate Ty Simpson going 2 or the Jets even using pick 16 necessarily on him. So they're likely looking at like a veteran and then maybe like a dart type of throw on a Garrett Nussmeier or Drew Aller type at some point. But you can't bank on that guy being your franchise QB. So, like, what can Glenn do to actually get that third year to try and take the big swing in round 1 on the quarterback in your mind?
Well, obviously, I mean, the simple answer is win games, right? The simple answer is win games and win back some of this, the fan base and so on and so forth. But, I think the quarterback position is vital. You're not going to go into whether it's whether it's a Simpson either at 16, late round 1, early round 2, or a Nussmeier or any of those guys. Like, I don't think you're banking on any of those guys starting. Now, I don't know if you listened to, I happened to last night listen to the podcast, I forgot what it's called, with Connor Hughes and Zach Rosenblatt. But Connor pretty much reiterated what I had thought, that if Dante Moore came out, he would have been the pick. But their plan was to completely give him a red shirt. So, I can't imagine if that was their plan for Dante Moore, that wouldn't be the plan for Ty Simpson and or whatever rookie quarterback you plug in there. So the key for me is who's going to be the guy, who's going to be the lead dog in that quarterback room. That guy needs to come in and needs to play. You can't go another offense that that is 29th or 30th in total offense, 32nd in total passing. I think you have to figure that out. On top of that, Aaron Glenn needs to, he needs to, man up. He needs to sack up and drop his nuts on this defense and take control of some of it. Who we don't have a defensive coordinator. I don't think that it's pressing like right here, right now, right this second that you have one. But I mean, God, I think a defensive coordinator in-house with a scheme envisioned would be nice before you start getting into the meat and potatoes of the draft, right? You got to know what you're drafting, what kind of skill set or scheme that you're going to be drafted for. And if not, Aaron Glenn needs to take more control on that. Like, I think he took a little too much CEO role last year, where he probably should have been a little bit more hands-on, especially on that porous defense that just looked awful. It looked looked just as bad with Sauce and Quinnen as it did without.
Dom C is here. If you guys have a draft question about literally any prospect at this point, Dom is as equipped as any guest we could bring on to discuss it. He does this year-round. Robbie Sabo did the smartest thing one can do, is hire Dom C to be a part of Jet X for draft season. So I've been studying Dom's draft guide now the last couple of weeks. It's awesome. So if you guys have any prospect-related questions, make sure you write them in. Also, for those who are watching the show live, here's today's giveaway at the end of the stream. It is a Joe Namath Super Bowl III bobblehead. We send it to you. Should you win, you got to enter the Asmaniac raffle. When you enter for the bobblehead at the end of the show, you automatically are qualified for Tuesday's weekly raffle featuring a signed Curtis Martin helmet and a signed Broadway Joe Namath helmet. I'd be remiss if I didn't shout out Bucks Fanatic for being the first person to gift today. What I love about this show, we got fans from all over the place that are tuned in, including a guy down in Tampa like Bucks Fanatic. So when he gifts memberships, we play Angry Todd Bowles.
It's inexcusable. You don't make excuses.
Hey, real quick, before I play this, not safe for work if you got kids around. Bowles is very inappropriate here.
It's inexcusable. You don't make excuses. You gotta fucking care enough where the shit hurts. You gotta fucking care enough where the shit hurts. It gotta fucking mean something to you. It's more than a job. It's your fucking livelihood. How well do you know your job? How well can you do your job? Well, you can't sugarcoat that shit. It was in the fucking...
All right, thank you, Todd. Come on. Very dirty Todd Bowles. Frank P, a 10 spot of channel memberships. Frank, thank you. We got you down in the raffle. Let's go. Hit it. Memberships flying off the shelves. I guess Dom's bringing out the best in the community. 5 more from Oscar. Give him a hug, Woody.
I hug him every day. I hug him every day.
You all are entered in our raffle. All right, Dom, what I want to talk to you now is specifically about the Senior Bowl, right? Give us some of the prospects that Jet fans should definitely be paying close attention to all next week in Mobile.
Well, I mean, I think the big names speak for themselves. I don't have to go too far into that, right? Like we hear that David Bailey from the edge from Texas Tech, Ruben Bain's going to be there. The biggest names, we'll keep those aside. Some of the interesting ones that I'm going to personally keep my eye on the edge room. We talked about the edge room. I'm curious to see T.J. Parker. He's an edge from Clemson. Now, going into last year, again, at this point last year, when you were talking about the 2026 draft, he was a clear top 5, top 10, can't miss prospect. He had a really, really kind of uninspiring and uneventful year. Like his film this year was just not. I mean, there was nothing exciting about it, and his numbers dipped all across the board. Now, the team itself was worse. The back end, especially the linebackers, didn't play well. But to me, you hope that TJ Parker, similar to Peter Woods, who was on the inside, would take that next step and really, separate themselves as one of the better players at his position, regardless of what happened with the team. And I thought his film was a little flat. I thought his film last year was a lot better. So I'm curious to see him, even with kind of the downtrodden film and the lackadaisical play. He still had almost a 30% true win rate on true pass sets where there's no play action, no nothing, just straight drop back. So he has a skill set to beat tackles. It's almost like he needs like a kick in the ass to do so. So he's a guy that I'm gonna really, really keep my eyes on the defensive side when it comes to the one-on-ones. There's some defensive tackles that I really like in this class as well. Caleb Banks, probably my favorite defensive tackle in the entire class. He was an absolute monster at Florida last year, and he missed the entire season this year with an injury. So, I shouldn't say that. I think he played the last game or the last 2 games he came back. But, I mean, he was as disruptive of a defensive lineman that we saw in the nation last year. He's long. He's 6'6", 335 pounds, probably 340, and he comes off the line like he's 240 pounds. Like his first step and his length gets him into the backfield and disrupting stuff in the backfield so much. He's heavy, he's heavy-handed, strong, so doesn't get moved off linemen. He can anchor down and take on, double teams and split them as well. He's a guy that everyone seems to have forgotten about. And for me, Jake, I'm circling him, if he shows up well in this process this week, if he interviews well, if he gets through the combine well, like that's a guy you very well may circle at 33 if the Jets end up picking there.
Wow. Love that.
So he's a guy that I'm definitely going to keep an eye on. He just missed. I have 15 first-round grades in this class. He's number 16 in the class for me. So he's literally right on the cusp of a first-round grade. I think he's going to surprise a lot of people. I think he's a name that no one is talking about enough, but a month from now, you're going to hear nonstop is Caleb Banks. So on the defensive side, those are 2 guys that I'm really, really interested in. And on the offensive side, like I want to see Garrett Nussmeier. Garrett Nussmeier.
Glad you said that because you brought up. We talked earlier about Arch Manning a year from now, and who knows. I want to keep reiterating this to everyone. A year ago, Todd McShay's way too early mock draft. The New York Jets were picking number 1 overall, and they took Garrett Nussmeier in McShay's way too early mock. Yeah. So. Like, again, things changed. Nussmeier got hurt this year. LSU was a mess. Can Garrett Nussmeier play himself into the conversation? Maybe not round 1, but round 2.
Yeah, so, listen, Garrett Nussmeier is my 3rd ranked quarterback on the board now. Now, I will say that with an asterisk because he wasn't 3rd. There was a lot of guys that I had rated ahead of him that went back to school. So, of what's left, he's 3rd. Now, remember, I talk about it a lot. You'll hear me talk about QBIQ. I think that, to me, that's probably one of the major factors that I look at and I try to see if a quarterback has when going through my evals and my scouting process, and he has it. Like his dad coaches, I think, for the Eagles or the Saints, or he was with the Eagles, now he's with the Saints. So he's got that he's got that bloodline in him. A little bit slighter in size. He'll be lucky to be pushing 6 feet tall, 205, 210 pounds. And he's athletic enough. I don't think he's not a guy that I would, label dual threat in the least. At all, even close. He's got a very good arm. He's just like I said, if you could kind of put in a lab what you think a coach's son would look like playing quarterback, that's what you get in Garrett Nussmeier. Very technically sound. Ball placement is good, throws with good anticipation, not afraid to hang in there and take some lumps. But I think some of that stuff has really got to him, because last year, when he really took off and when he was talked about being the number one quarterback coming into this year, he had one of those kind of, Mike Mattisau blow up moments almost every game, every bad game. Like, he had that one throw where you're just like, ugh, what are you doing? And that's what I wanted to see from him. I talk about that with you and with everyone all the time. Like, when I'm watching a guy from last year and I'm looking at the things that I think that are, I would say, negatives or, points against him, I want to see that he's improving on that stuff next year. I didn't see Garrett Nussmeier improve on enough, which is why I think he kind of fell out. For me, he fell out of that first round kind of hype. He kind of, as the team kind of crashed around him, he showed me that he didn't improve on that stuff enough. He still has, he still got a little bit of happy feet. He still kind of plays hero ball and forces throws under pressure where he doesn't need to. That stuff can get cleaned up, but you hoped it would get cleaned up from last year to this year, and it didn't. And, then he was dealing with injuries, seems to always be banged up. It's a guy that supposedly that the Jets have been sniffing around. I don't know if he's going to go in the first round. I would absolutely think that he's off the board in the top 50 picks.
Good insight there from Dom. Comments, questions, super chats, cut the line. Can I give some love to Paul Faz? A lot of memberships this early in the show. Love it. 5 spot from Paul. Hit it, AG.
We're the freaking New York Jets, so we're shit.
Happy anniversary to Aaron Glenn being hired a year ago.
Best day of our life. Best day of our life.
I laugh when I see comments like this from like listeners of the show, and I love Indy Jets. He's a great man, but he goes, I hope when the Jets become good, those that are negative now go find a different team to shit on. Man, if they become good, we'd be happy. We're fans, but we're not blind optimists. We call it how it is. Dom is a former season ticket holder. I know you go to a ton of games.
Former.
Like, you love the Jets. You've been a Jet fan your whole life. I love the Jets.
Yeah, 2 years ago I gave them up.
Like, we all want them to be good, but just because we're negative right now doesn't mean that we're not, fans of the team still. Like, if the Jets turn it around, I'll be thrilled.
And I want to say this. I don't know if I'm necessarily, I think I'm probably more positive of a fan of the Jets, of what's going on than a lot of people. I just am also going to be honest, and I just don't think that Glenn's the guy. I didn't want to hire Glenn. That's not why I'm not like standing on a soapbox, like saying, gotcha, I told you so. I wish I was wrong. I think that I just don't know if he's going to be the guy. And especially if you're going to bring in a young rookie quarterback, you got to show me that we have somebody on staff that's going to be able to kind of get this guy ready, right?
It's not Charles London?
Charles London, Jake's favorite quarterback / running back of all time. No.
Was that you who had a tweet that went viral? You're like, if Charles London sticks around, I'm convinced Geno Smith's going to be the quarterback. Was that you?
That was me.
Oh, God.
Well, and think about it. You know who when Geno had his resurrection year in Seattle, you know who his quarterback coach? Charles London.
Yeah. I'm sure he had a lot to do with
it. Well, why is he still on the team? Tell me. Nobody can tell me that. They're making moves elsewhere in the coaching staff. Why is Charles London still on this team? The more he's here, the longer he's here, the more I think that Geno is going to be our quarterback in 2026. He's going to be our bridge.
Indy Jet says AG will take this team above any of our expectations. Trust in AG and DM.
I listen. The rope, I'm hanging on. Don't let go. Rope. I'm not letting go.
And I know it's hard to say. Just trust me, have faith in what we're doing.
Dude, Aaron Glenn loves Indy Jets, right? He could say anything, and Indy's going to buy in. I love it. What do we got here? Super chat from PBM. We really need a wide receiver too, assuming Baines at 2, who's left at 16. It's a great question because I think Jet fans love Mekhi Lemon. Don, the more I watch him, I don't think he's making it to 16.
And listen, if you follow me on Twitter, shameless plug at DC_NY Jets. I post a lot of stuff. I post a lot of my own feelings and stuff like this. Jake, I'd be willing right now to say that if you're expecting Mekhi Lemon to be there at 16, I think you're setting yourself up to fail. I don't think he's going to be there. As a matter of fact, I'll say this. I don't think any of the big three receivers are going to make it to 12, to 16, excuse me. And if one happens to, I think it'll probably be Jordan Tyson, which I would be absolutely thrilled with. But I think the injury history is going to scare some people away. Yeah, listen, I don't know. I'm going to say this. I like all three of the receivers. I've said this ad infinitum where on whatever show I've been talking about the receivers. My pecking order is they're literally, and Jake, you have my draft guide. They're literally number 9, 8, 9, and 10. They're literally in order, one after the other. I happen to go Tyson, Lemon, and then Tate, but they're within fractions of a point from each other. So I'd be happy with any of them. I don't think that any of them are going to reach 16. If they do, it'll probably be Tyson because people are going to be scared off of the injury history. And
Could they trade up? Would they be worth trading up? I know Buffalo Jet fans big on like just coming away with 2 studs, and if you got to use one of your seconds to go from 16 to a little further up to guarantee you get one of the receivers, is that worth it?
Here's my thought with Lemon. If we're talking about Lemon, I don't think I'll say this. I don't think Tate's going to be there. Tate's going to be a top 7 player or top 8 player. I'll say the Saints pick 8. I think that's his absolute floor. I don't think he's going to go further lower than that. Probably before that. The other two, I don't know. I think you're thrilled if they land to you at 16. I'm not sure I'm spending capital to trade up for either of them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the players better than any of us.
I think I don't know if I don't know if either of them. If Jordan Tyson's healthy, you could sell me into going up and getting him and him being the guy. But I don't know if I'm spending capital to go up and get these guys to pay them within the top 10. When you already have a $25 million receiver in Garrett Wilson, and next year you have 4 receivers right off the cuff that are going to be 3 tiers ahead of any of these guys. So, if you have any hope in like the Jeremiah Smiths of the world, you're not gonna invest 3 first-round picks at the wide receiver position. That's just not the best allocation of assets to your salary cap. So, for me, I think if one of them lands to you, or maybe you want to make a slight trade up, like a pick or something like that, like Minnesota did when they went and got JJ McCarthy. That's fine, but am I moving up from 16 to 7 and giving up a second and a second next year or a second and a first next year for one of them? No, I'm not.
Let me ask you this, because we didn't even really specifically hit on pick 2.
Okay.
Looking at your draft guide,
yep,
you have Arvell Reese as your 3rd overall player.
Yes.
You have Ruben Bain at number 5. If I go by the Dom C draft guide of BPA, this would lead me to believe, because Jeremiah loves your number 1 player and Caleb Downs as a safety is number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Would you take Reese number 2 then if you're the Jets, if I'm factoring in BPA and then obviously premium position that high?
So yes, I probably would. It would have to be, and this is why I said that the coach is so vital. Who's going to run this defense? Arvell Reese would probably be the guy I would lean towards right now. There's a lot of time and there's a lot of it's not written. That's written in pencil. Arvell Reese graded out the highest before Bain and Bailey, which are 3, 5, and 7. But if depending on the defense, I think Bain might have the highest floor of them all. I think Bain's going to be a very, very effective, and very versatile defensive end. I think you could start him if you have a 4-man front. He could play on the strong side edge. Similar to where JFM played on the end when he was with us, similar to what Jermaine Johnson does right now, lined up on the strong side, really set that edge and defend the run, and then kind of reduce down and rush from the inside and passing downs. Now, if you have him, next to Juwan Briggs and next to Will McDonald and say JJ or somebody else that you bring in from free agency, say Adolphe Owe, that's a really good 4-man, front. I think that Ruben Bain can also play 5-tech if you wanted to go odd man front, like a 3-4. But I'm not spending a number 2 overall pick on a 3-4 defensive end. David Bailey is an absolute freak of nature. He's an absolute freak of nature. Like people are gonna, if you haven't familiarized yourself with his game, I would suggest you do so. That guy is shot out of a freaking cannon, and he's got the upside of the pass rusher, like the consistent 12 to 15 sack per year kind of guy. I question if he's going to be able to be an effective every down defensive end. Not to say that he doesn't play the run well. His style of playing the run is a little different. It's kind of centered around or based on him being more athletic and shooting gaps and being more disruptive, not taking on blockers and stacking and shedding and setting ends. So to me, I think if you run a 3-4 and you want to have him, rushing from the outside and doing that, I think David Bailey would be great at that. I think David Bailey would also be good if you want to line him up in wide 9 and just let him go. I don't know how he would, fare stacking, setting the edge as a hand in the dirt for 4-3 defensive end, which brings me to Reese, man. I think Reese is the best run defender out of all of them. I mean, the guy he takes on pulling guards and knocks them on their ass. And he hasn't done it all that much. 130 snaps rushing from the edge last year, 7 sacks, 27 pressures. The sky's the limit. It's a big projection. Can he fit? Can Aaron Glenn and who defensive coordinator to be named later? Can they really
Jim O'Neill?
Can they really harvest what you need in Arvell Reese? I don't know.
Well, do you draft ceiling or floor when you're picking second?
Yeah, I would draft the ceiling. I would. I maybe it's wrong, but I think you have 4 picks, right? Swing for the fences with one of them. If they're that close, if their board looked like mine, Jake, and they had these 3 edges at 3, 5, and 7, take the one who I think has the most, whichever one they think has the most upside.
How close was Reese to Bain and Bailey in your breakdown here? Because on your guide, I just see where their overall rankings were, but how tight was it between them?
Arvell Reese had a top 10 grade, and the other 2 had first round grades, which were probably a 1/10 to 3/10 of a point difference.
Tight.
Yeah.
Real tight.
Very tight. Very, very close, But I like all of them, and I would be happy with all of them. I really would.
What do you say to people who think this is a bad draft? Is that fair, or it's just not a good quarterback draft?
It's pretty fair. I kind of hold the same sentiment. I'm not going to say it's a bad draft. It's not very top heavy, and there's a lot of positional groups which they're fall off a cliff. All in all, I have 15 first round grades. I think you're gonna hear a lot, and I, me and the average, amateur eyes usually have are a little bit more liberal. I think you're gonna hear the guys come out, the Jeremiahs of the world and whatnot, telling you that they have 9 or 10 first round grades in this, which is not a lot. It's
what's the average typically?
I think last year last year I had 18. 19. The year before that, I had 22. I don't know everyone's grading system's a little bit different, probably. I don't think there's a standard to determine that. But yeah, listen, it's not the strongest class. It's not the strongest draft that we've had. 2 years ago, wiped this out completely out of the board. Last year's was, probably better than this one as well. I'd say this one is on par with the Will McDonald, Kenny Pickett draft. Which was okay.
Ty Simpson and Kenny Pickett being overdrafted out of desperation. I could see it now.
Yeah. So there's some good positional groups. There are the linebacker group is really deep. I think the cornerback, even though there might not be a ton of top end guys, I have 2 first round grades in the corners. I think that you can get I think you'll be able to get a really good player into day 3. Linebackers as well. Linebackers are something that we haven't seen a lot, and that's a deep group. The edge group is deep. So the safety group, very top heavy, very strong. There's 6 or 7 guys that I think can come in and play, if not as starters, can play meaningful snaps right away.
Ty Simpson, Kuiper had him going to the Jets in his first mock at 16. That has sparked a tremendous amount of debate all week on my show. I wouldn't take him at 16, Dom. I just see the stats of guys that have played that few starts over the last 15 years.
Yeah.
And to me, with Charles London as our quarterback coach, Glenn as our head coach, I'm not burning a top 16 pick on a guy who everyone says needs to sit. So if he sits for a year, how do we know if he's any good if he actually sits when we're probably going to have a new coach and a new regime with 3 1s to deal with next year? So to me, it just doesn't make any sense. Where are you at with Ty Simpson as it relates to the Jets?
I think there's – listen, Ty Simpson was talked about in the as the number 1 overall pick early in this fall, right? He had a couple bad games, definitely fought, definitely was injured, played through some injuries, which is the reason why he's not at the Senior Bowl, by the way. He wanted to go. He got an invite. He really wanted to go, but he can't throw. He tore some rib cartilage or so on and so forth. I have a 2nd-round grade on Ty. If he's there, if you want to throw a dart at 44, that's fine. Again, it falls back to the thing. Quarterbacks get overdrafted, and I think it's fair to say 16 would be in the range where he could be overdrafted, but you can't sell me on this offensive staff being able to really develop and harness what needs to be developed and harnessed in Ty Simpson. The stuff that Ty Simpson does, I think, needs reps, right? I think the stuff that he does bad or needs improvement on can get better with reps, right? He, the pressure, when you put pressure on him, things seem to fall apart. The completion percentage goes right down the tubes. He starts short hopping those short passes. The accuracy of his throws, they're not they're not very consistent to begin with, and then put a little pressure in his face, and they get even worse. There's a lot of stuff that he does pre-snap that as well. I think he throws a really nice deep ball. And he makes a lot of throws. He's made throws this year, deep down the field, corner routes, that he layers over, that he layers over the cornerback and before the safety, the real tight window stuff that you make him that shows that he's got that, that thing that he could play the NFL quarterback. He just needs to improve on the simple stuff, and the simple stuff that he needs to improve on needs reps. He's not going to get them in the NFL. Right? He might get them through training camp, running with the 2s and the 3s. But once the season starts, he's not going to get the reps that he needs. So that's why with this coaching staff, knowing that he needs to really be developed and needs the reps, I wouldn't trust it. I probably would pass on Ty Simpson at 16.
It's too rich, man. To me, it's too rich. Now, is Trinidad Chambliss draftable in your eyes, assuming he's in this draft?
He's a guy that I got a 3rd-round grade on, but I would overdraft him probably in the 2nd round. I think he'll get overdrafted in the 2nd round. Again, phenomenal athlete, man. Phenomenal athlete, but not the complete package yet. He'll be 25 during this 2026 season. So I don't know how much more you can just kind of let him sit. But if you give him the Jordan Love treatment, you're talking about a 28-year-old quarterback taking over the reins. You know what I mean? I don't know if he's got that in him. I'd probably take a shot on him. I absolutely would, but not before, not in the top 50. Put it that way.
Couple minutes left with Dom. If you got a question, last chance to get it in. Shout out to our guy Craig down under in Australia. Good day, Jake. 110 degrees here today. Hope you're not about to get snowed in. Please check on my house. Craig, I think we are going to get snowed in. The question is, will the snow last into Monday morning? Because if it does, Dom C and I are going to struggle getting out of New York down to Mobile. But we will figure that out as we go somehow, some way. Jetstream with a $10 super chat in our raffle for 2. He says Simpson's play alone warrants a 2nd-round pick at most. Adding in how many starts he has only solidifies that. I wouldn't take him any higher than that. Again, I just don't see how taking Simpson at 16 helps Glenn in the long run. He's not going to be ready to play. And by the time he might be ready to play, you're probably not the head coach at that point. You need a player at 16 that can help you win now. You can get a really good player at 16. So from a timeline standpoint, it just doesn't match up with what the Jets need to do this year.
Yeah, listen, you're going to hear a lot of people who are pro Simpson say, he was injured. He had no running game. The offensive line sucked. Same thing for Nussmeier. Same thing for Cade Klubnik. All that stuff was the same. Why are we, you want to see these guys step up. Now, listen, are they going to have seasons like Mendoza? Statistically, when all those factors come into play, probably not. But you also don't want to see him, fall off a proverbial cliff, which we happen to see with Simpson. It was unfortunate,
Ricky says, Dom, thoughts on cornerback Julian Neal and defensive tackle Tim Keenan to fill the sauce and Q voids?
Yeah, Julian Neal's great. He's actually, I got him. I think he's a top 25 player for me.
Your fourth rated corner, and you have a first/second round projection on him.
Yeah, 24. He's 24th overall. He's probably about 6'2". He's a bigger, longer corner. He fits the Aaron Glenn mold, right? Long, lanky, physical.
Does he intercept passes? Is that the Aaron Glenn mold?
Yeah, well, that's what you hope he can do. No, but you talk about physical press man, kind of guy that gets in your face, plays boundary only, is not afraid to get his head in there and tackle. So he's a guy that I absolutely circle as one of those, one of those fits. And I thought his tape was, outstanding. I liked him so much. Like I said, he's a top 25 player for me. And who's the other guy? I'm sorry.
Tim Keenan, correct.
I think Tim Keenan is a nice player. And he's an interior guy from Alabama. I think he's a nice player. I think he has flashes. I think the overall big picture of him is just, he's another two-gapping interior defensive lineman. Not anything. He doesn't do anything outstanding enough for me to, kind of like jaw drop or wow. He's a nice big body. I think he's like 320 pounds, so on and so forth. Just an interior guy. Probably a good depth piece. I don't know if he's, ever going to turn into a Dexter Lawrence type nose tackle. So yeah, he's a nice player. He's probably the drop off, and I think I have him 7th or 8th in my interior defensive lineman. For me, he's probably a teardrop. Like after that, you're scraping at, the bottom of the barrel. I think that's one of the positional groups that falls off a cliff pretty hard.
All right, I know you got to run, so I'm going to try and squeeze.
Go ahead. I got like 5 more minutes.
All right, perfect. Veteran Jet fan says, "Who are Dom C's top 5 offensive linemen? Is there anyone worthy for the Jets at 33 or 44?"
So my top 5 offensive linemen. I want to say this: not a fan of this tackle class whatsoever. I have 1 first-round grade on a tackle.
You mean Malago is not going to go number 1 of the Raiders, like Nick Faria said?
Maya Noah is not going to probably go number 1. He's not my number 1 rated tackle. I'm looking at my board here. My highest rated tackle is Spencer Fano at 14. I follow that up with Vega Ione at 19, and Francisco Mayanoa at 18. So I think both of those guys are guards. Mayanoa is going to go early. He's really popped of recent. He's he's the talk of the town these days. So I think he's going to probably push himself in the top half of the first round. Vega Ione is an interesting one. He to me is he's probably one of those plug and play 12-year starters at guard. Just a people mover, physical specimen. He has that Samoan background, so just an absolute ass kicker. I don't know if he'll reach the Jets at 33. He would be a guy that I would be interested if he did reach there. And I know no one wants to draft offensive line early again, but I mean, you plug him in at left guard, you don't have to worry about your left side of the line. And if you re-sign Pittman, you now have your left side and your right side of the line locked in for the next 5 years, and that would be amazing. So, I have those 2 as 2 and 3. My next, I have Caleb Lomu, number 31 overall. He's a tackle. A little projection on him, and then my 5th overall lineman is Monroe Freeland. He's another name that I think is going to be catching a lot of buzz recently. or lately. I think come the combine and when he tests out and how athletic he's going to be, you're going to hear him getting some first round buzz.
Love it. This one's from Nate. I'm having some issues with the super chats here, so I just took a screen grab to put it up there for us to respond to. He wants to know, and Nate, I got you in the raffle for 5. Most have said there's no clear Jamar Chase, Hutch, Myles Garrett type prospects, but are there even 16 top end guys before second tier prospects? You also spoke about Cole Payton. What are his major weaknesses besides experience?
I'll go backwards with that. Cole Payton. Experience is a big one. I think he's got 13 starts under his belt. It's a 25-year-old prospect. He is much more athlete than he is quarterback right now. And when I say an athlete, he's phenomenal. He's the closest thing, Jake, Cole Payton, who we'll see in Mobile, he's the closest thing to Josh Allen coming out of Wyoming as there is. Like, he's that kind of talented. The size, the arm strength, the dual threat ability of not just juking you, but running through you. Cole Payton will do that at 6'5", 235 pounds. He'll throw the ball 70 yards flat-footed. The problem is that the rest of the quarterback game is just not developed enough yet. He's a hair late on everything. You're going to have to run an offense that's built for like Jameis Winston, where you just run deep. You run four verts the whole time and let this guy throw it up, and if he sees a lane, he'll run it. It's going to be a very unique style offense. I don't know if he fits into a West Coast principle timing-based offense. That's Cole Payton. And the first half of this, there's no Myles Garrett type prospects for sure, but are there even 16 top-end guys before the second tier? Well, I have 15 first-round grades, so the answer to that, I guess, is pretty much no. No for me. Listen, there's guys that you take at 16 or 17 are going to be kind of in the same token of guys you would take at 33 or 34. That's just the way this draft is going to go. And you're going to have to, teams are going to have to get lucky, right? They're going to have guys that developed, that they take later, that develop, that, are going to outplay the guys that are taken in the mid-first round.
I think that's well said. Dom's up against it, so I'm trying to squeeze in a quick one here. Bino says,
I can come back, Jake. If you give me if you're still on, I'll come back and finish. I'm only going right down the road, 10 minutes.
You know what? Let's do that then. I'll still be on. Yeah, why not?
Yeah. All right. So I'll see you in a little bit.
All right. You got it. Dom C, delivering his kids to, I forget what sport he said. Did he say swim practice? Some sort of athletic competition. I'll stay on. The super chats are loading slowly here, so I am trying to make sure we're caught up on everything. Memberships are loading fine, so I can shout out Derek the Jet fan for entering the Asmaniac raffle. This one from Joe, who writes in, Nuss at pick 44 seems realistic. 100%. I could definitely see the Jets taking Garrett Nussmeier in the second round if he plays himself into that, because I don't think he's a second rounder right now, but he's healthy and he's got a chance at the Senior Bowl to go out there and perform. He's got a chance at the combine to look good. Again, a year ago, Todd McShay had him number 1 overall in the draft to the Jets. So that's how he was thought of a year ago, that he was going to have this big year. It never happened. That doesn't mean that he can't still go in the second round, though. Jet Johnny, I see your super chat, but I will save it for Dom to come back so he can give you his expert breakdown on the defensive tackle at a wake that you asked about. Jetstream wanted to know about the O-line draft. We did actually hit on that, Jetstream. So if you rewind, you'll get Dom's full breakdown of that one. Also, JD, I see your question. So we'll separate some of the draft-related stuff for when Dom joins us. This one's from Mace B. Here's a super chat that just loaded. Sorry for the delay, Mace B. Where are the 8 wins coming from, Jake? I have the Jets winning the Raiders. I'm not picking them to win 8 games. So to me, they're not coming because I don't see them winning 8 games. 8 games, man. They haven't won more than 7 in 10 years. How are they winning 8? Who's the quarterback? You have them winning the Raiders, Browns, Vikings, Titans, Cardinals, one of the Dolphins games. So how many wins would that be? That'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're at 6. You would need to find two more wins. Do you see it on the schedule right now? I don't. Now, the schedule is not even the issue. I just think it's our lack of quarterback and our lack of proven coach that can elevate guys. Because that's how you overachieve. You have a coach that gets the best of his team. Jake Quest with his negative nonsense again. Funny how that works. Jake does another roster. Hence, we have no clue. You're right, Jake Quest. So let's just not talk about anything. Right? Because we don't know the roster, right? So we shouldn't do a talk show because you're not happy that I'm critical about Aaron Glenn. Find a different show, Jake Quest, please. I will pay you to not watch anymore. Every day you come in, you write negative stuff about how you don't like the show anymore, or you don't like the fact that I'm critical of Glenn. You don't have to be here. Find a new show. It will be wonderful. We'll send you on your merry way, or you could watch. But every day it's the same comment out of you. Oh, so dumb that anyone tries to forecast 20. No, it's not. This is what we do. We talk. We give opinions. You can agree or disagree. You don't have to watch. Being upset that we're going to discuss what to do in the draft. Come on. We don't know the roster yet. Yeah, we don't. It's annoying. Every day. The same stuff. Oh, we don't know. You're right. We don't know. But I have a pretty good feel based on how bad year one was and what the current state of the team looks like and the lack of true options to get a long-term answer at quarterback, that it's hard to find 8 wins. If you can't handle that, that's fine. You're calling me sensitive. You're the one upset that I'm giving an opinion on an awful football coach. Again, you don't have to watch. The show is free. More of your calls. And by more, all of your calls, because we haven't taken any calls yet. Five Brows will start us off. Hello, Five Brows.
Hey, how's it going, Jake? Hold on, let me switch it on work. Hey, how's it going? Yeah, man, I still believe in the 69th team.
I do too. I think we have our best people going after Tomlin.
No, Neil has got a brilliant offensive mind. I believe in Neil, and I also believe in all these veteran gentlemen that want to take ownership. I will fully fucking co-sign that. Also, I'm joking, but I'm not really joking. Honestly, I think they'll do better than Glenn. But as far as Arvell Reese goes, I was like they're watching more and more of him. Like I noticed he disappears. They like to drop him back in coverage, and he's not very he's more valuable as a disruptor when he wreaks havoc and rushes the passer. His potential, in my opinion, is like when he could be like a Micah Parsons if he's used right. So whatever coach we get defensively has to have like a real plan to use that number 2 pick the right way. So like I'd be cool with Bailey. I'd be cool with Bailey, Arvell, and Bain. I'd be cool with either one. Just have a plan.
Well, that's kind of why I like having the guy with the best floor at 2. I know Dom said take the big swing. I get it. I rather err on the side of caution. Ruben Bain feels safer than Arvell Reese right now. I could be dead wrong on that. It's early, but I feel like Ruben Bain will be a really good football player, and Arvell Reese might be great, but there's a debate on what position he is, how to deploy him, how to use him. That makes me nervous given the Jets' current coaching situation. I almost rather just take the guy that's going to be a damn good football player, high motor, and just call it a day. But I know some people like to take the big swing on number 2.
Yeah, it's scary. I know what you're saying. Like, we don't want another Vernon Golston situation.
I just want a good player, man. You know what I mean? Like, we just went through hell at 3 and 14. The last time they picked second, they took Zach Wilson. The other 2 times they had the number 2 pick, it was Johnny Lamb Jones and Blair Thomas. Like, can we just get a really good football player at 2 and not a guy we're projecting to be awesome? Yeah, that scares me.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like David, I like David Bailey a lot too, but he's kind of just starting to like shoot up boards, and I don't know. I'm either any of those 3 I'd be happy with, but yeah, I see the thing with Bain is people say he has short arms. I don't know if that means really means much. Like I don't know. I don't think that means that much if you strong and can move offensive linemen. Like I don't know.
His arms didn't stop him from dominating college football this year.
Yeah. So
including the national title game where he was arguably the best player on the field for a lot of that game.
Yeah, as long as we go one of those 3, I'll be happy. But as far as I really love us getting Nussmeier in the second round. I think he would be an awesome pick for us, just because I think he's way better than Tyler Shuck. And look at Tyler Shuck. He looks good with the Saints. So why can't I feel like we can get a better version of Tyler Shuck? He reminds me of Sam Darnold. He can spin it. I like Nussmeier. He had an injured thumb all year. He was injured the whole fucking year. My bad. I didn't mean to curse.
You're good, Five Bros. I appreciate you. I like Nussmeier because again, a year ago, everyone was like first round pick, top 10. So I like the idea of taking a swing on him as like our quarterback that we hope could pan out. Because if you do it in the second round, it doesn't limit you from a year from now being able to take another QB. And I think there's talent there. Let's see how he plays this week at the Senior Bowl, though, right? If he's not very good or he doesn't warrant a second-round pick, then you can kind of scratch that one. But I think our last caller, Five Bros, made a good point. Like, who's this year's Tyler Shuck? That worked out for the Saints, obviously. We can only be so lucky. All right, let's get to more of your calls here. Again, if you want in on the conversation, you could super chat, and you can qualify for the Namath bobblehead like Mr. Magoo just did here with a $20 super chat. He says, I'd like to see Ruben Bain at number 2, and at 16, I'd like to see Lennon. John Lennon or Makai Lemon, I believe you mean, Mr. Magoo. Lemon, I think, would be awesome. I don't think he's making it to 16. Dom talked about that earlier when he was on. As far as Ruben Bain at 2, I like the take.
It would be extremely painful for you.
Bain's awesome. Big fan. All right, more of your calls right now, ladies and gentlemen. There's a guy on the line who's not pleased with me. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time.
Ladies and gentlemen, sports fans of all ages, welcome to the event of the year, the moment you've all been waiting for. This is the Asmaniac Rumble.
What's up, Jake?
Hello, Jay Quest. Are you in the dark there?
Yeah.
I can't even see you.
It's dark. I'll put the light on. Hold on. Is that better?
There he is. Look at that handsome man.
Listen, calling me soft. I call in all the time, bro. I just haven't had a chance to call in. Spencer,
You don't call in anymore. All you do is just shit on the show. I get
I
tagged in
don't-
tweets by you. I get tagged in the comments here.
Jake, you've been fucking.
What happened to you?
On Twitter, dude? And like your show is your show. I get it, but on Twitter, dude, you're like actually like you're like looking up your name without people tagging you and like talking about Aaron Glenn. It's fucking.
I get sent more stuff than you could even imagine.
Dude, it's been too much for me. It's too much with the Aaron Glenn shit. I'm sorry, and like I get.
What do you mean it's too much for you? Do you think he's a good coach?
He has to improve, and I get it. I would not be. Don't listen to me. I would not be mad if they fired him. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not like Spencer Green saying, "Oh, he's the best ever." He needs to improve, and I get that, dude. Like, if he got fired, I would not have been upset. I would have understood. The fact of the matter is, once they didn't fire him, like everyone's like, you know, Harbaugh got fired. Oh, we have to get him. He wasn't coming here anyway, dude.
Yeah, but that's not the point. The point is, if he takes the Giant job, all of a sudden they're not hiring Mike McCarthy, who they were rumored to hire and they interviewed. All of a sudden, there's all these coaches that are still available because of the domino effect of these jobs opening in the first place.
We don't know, like, the side conversation he had with Woody. Like, maybe he said, listen, give us 3 years. We don't know. As Jeff fans, right, it's frustrating, right? We got to wait 3 years to be good. I get it. But we have no clue behind the doors what happened.
So that means we can't give an opinion in the meantime? Who cares?
There's a reason why you're getting killed on Twitter, because it's been, like, almost too much. And
yeah, there's also a reason why I'm gaining more followers than I ever had on social media, because people agree with me too.
The game to a certain extent. I just, you know, and my thing is, I came in right, and like the first thing just now, I came in. You cherry picked my comment. Like I was talking about the guy talking about how he says 8 wins. We don't fucking even know the roster, right? We don't even know. It's like it's January.
But hold on. Your comment is your comment. You made similar comments to me in the chat about you have no idea what's going to happen next year. Don't act like you haven't. I've seen that. I could go back and check.
I tear you apart. I do. But you take all the bad comments I say. I don't say I say good things about you lately because I haven't. Because you've been pissing me off.
You don't because you get annoyed that I'm critical of a terrible head coach. It bothers you.
A little.
You loved him as a player. You've said he's one of your favorite players ever.
It's almost like taking over the show, and it's been a little less this week. I'm not gonna lie, but like in the last few weeks, just like insufferable. And like I like your show
because that's the story. There's an NFL record 10 openings in the league right now.
Like I'm just in the chat, right, saying that. Like so, you're like, oh, don't watch my show because, dude, I enjoy your show. Like you know what I mean? Come on, you're the one that's soft, bro, not me. Come on.
I'm saying don't watch it if you're annoyed with the content. You don't have to watch. It's free.
No, I watch because there's all the Jet shit going on. You know what I mean? But there's sometimes.
And we talk about that, but Aaron Glenn's going to get brought up. He's the head coach of the team.
Now, like, can we look on the future now? I get it. You've been doing
yes, but he's part of the future, Jayquest. If we're debating what to do at 2 or what quarterback to draft, Aaron Glenn being the head coach here is a big part of that decision.
Right, but like my thing is like Dylan made a good point a few weeks ago before all these firings happened, like saying like if he is that bad, right, and he does get fired, like we're going to be in a better situation firing him in 2027, after 2026 than we are firing him right now.
We don't know that, though. We could be in a better position right now if we fired him and allowed our next coach to come in, have 5 ones over the next 2 years, and choose free agents they're going to spend $100 million on that fit what he wants to run.
Right, and then also you compare him to Frabel and Cohen. What's the guy from the Bears? Cohen?
Ben Johnson.
Ben Johnson, right? Like, they had a quarterback in play. And I get it. Glenn has not been good. Like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Like, he's been bad. There's certain games that he lost us the games, and I agree with that. I'm just saying, like, you can't compare him to the Patriots where they had a quarterback in play that they did coach up, right? We got Justin Fields. We took a shot on Justin Fields. It didn't
and he's
work.
never played worse.
No, he's terrible. He was bad. But is any coach going to make him be good? Like, we'll see.
Again, Mike Tomlin was 4-2 with him a year ago.
My thing is this. The first 7 games, I know we were 0-7, right? And we lost a lot of those close games. After that, it was to me.
Who cares? It's the NFL.
No, what would you have wanted to happen? That we won the last.
They win games. They win football games. They don't start 0-7.
Right. The last 2 games. If we would have won the last 2 games, Jake, right, and finished with 5 wins.
Would it have made a difference, Jay Quest? There's no quarterback they could take.
It would have made dick. It would have meant nothing to me.
What matters is they started 0-7 in the first place. That's not normal. That should never happen. No Jet coach has ever done that in their first year.
It was a terrible season, bro, and I get it.
So he should have been fired. Is the point? That's why people are upset.
Listen, though, like said, that's it. Before the season, when you guys are crying about Glenn getting fired, even though we all knew and inside it wasn't going to happen, right?
I did not necessarily know that. It got so bad at the end. I did not know. They've lost by an NFL record 23 or more 5 straight weeks. They did not have an interception over 17 games.
Okay. The Patriots, right? They fired their coach. You know why? Because
he sucked.
Right. But they also had Rabel coming in.
Why Denver fire Hackett?
He was horrendous. But they also had.
Why did the Texans fire Lovie Smith? Why have 8 of the 10 8 of the last 10 one-and-done head coaches? Why have their replacements made the playoffs in their tenure?
Jake, he might end up being the shittiest coach of all time. And I'm not saying it's not going to happen. So
stop trying to defend it and allow people to vent and be upset about it when it comes up in conversation.
He needs to get his guys in. I get it. You said, oh, he re-signed him. We brought this guy in. How many free agents?
His guys. Hey, what does that mean? His guys.
He's going to want guys that he's going to want to come in.
There are 2 former Titans on Mike Vrabel's roster. How are his guys?
We finished with Aaron Rodgers with 5 wins. We all evaluated the talent on this team. That's the point I'm saying.
Should they have been 0-7 bad? Should they have been historically awful? There's bad teams, and there's what the Jets put on the field this year. Did you see any players get better? Again, you want positives. There's not much to focus on other than the special teams. The head coach himself brought up 0 blocked field goals as one of the positives from the year. He didn't know how long the game-winning field goal yardage was. As your wife or your kids are looking at you, discuss Aaron Glenn, they need to know the truth, Jay Quest. They need to know the truth.
Tell Jake he's crazy. Just tell him.
He's crazy.
Hey, say even
of course I'm crazy. I'm a Jet fan. I talk about this team for 4 hours a day. I can't sit here and pretend like everything we're seeing is normal.
I know.
We just move past it.
Stop crying when I say something in the chat. Don't get all sensitive.
I'm not crying. Again, I'm just saying to you, if you don't enjoy the show, you don't have to watch it. It is free.
I watch it. All I said was, dude, I came in the show. Literally, when I came in, whoever the super chat was, I couldn't see it because on my phone, was saying about 8 wins, and you're like arguing with the guy. Where do you see the wins? How the fuck do we know? We might end up with 2 wins, right? We don't know.
Nobody knows anything, but I'm giving my opinion. Do you give your opinion? Do you think the Jets are winning 8 games next year, Jay Quest?
Well, probably not. No, but I don't know.
So, okay, so we hope we're wrong. But, we have to, if someone asked for my opinion, I answered it.
I was talking about the guy bringing it up in the first place, dude. And
yeah, but you also always go with that when you retort to me. It's like, oh, how could you say all this? We don't know. You're right. None of us know. We're giving an opinion. It's a talk show.
Jake, stop being so sensitive, bro.
Bro, I'm responding to you. I'm not being sensitive. I'm using your logic against you.
You know I love your show, dude. Don't shit on me.
I love you, Jay Quest. I'm just like, you get so mad at me, and I'm like, I'm just answering comments. That's how it goes.
I know I get mad because it's fucking frustrating to watch this shit.
We're all frustrated. Of course. I don't enjoy talking. You try having to make your living talking about a team for 4 hours a day that hasn't made the playoffs in 15 years.
All I'm saying is this, man. Like, to me, like, if Aaron Glenn fixes this, dude, like, can you recover from this, bro? Like, I don't
care if I can recover or not. I will be as happy as anyone. You don't understand how badly I want the Jets to not suck. I have never been able to do a YouTube season where they've been in the playoffs or even really relevant outside of when they were 6-3 before it fell apart in 2022. Believe me. You know how much better this channel would be if the Jets weren't dog crap? You know how many more subscribers I'd have? How many more events we'd be able to do? Watch parties? It'd be amazing.
Also, who's the softie that's fucking blocking Nate all the time, dude? Is that you or someone else, dude?
So sometimes it's me, but today it wasn't me. I haven't done anything.
Nate didn't even say anything, dude. Come on, let us talk, man. I get it. You put shit in people in the shadow realm, all this shit, but we're in the chat. We're fucking around. You want to put Spencer Green in the fucking shadow realm? Put that.
Hey, I trust my mods. If they timed him out, he must have said something. I can't keep track of everything in real time. We got 400 people in the chat right now.
He said he did nothing, dude. Just take it easy with the.
He did nothing. Yeah, just like your comments. Oh, I never say any of this.
No, listen, I share on you all the time lately. I know you see it. I've been shitting on you. I'm not gonna lie.
So don't be like, oh, you're so sensitive. I'm gonna respond to you.
Oh, but you are, Jake. Come on.
If you shit on me, to quote you, I will respond. I'm not blocking you for it. I've responded to you.
I'm going to use your line. You're fucking adopted, for crying out loud.
No. It's the line from Dodgeball. You're adopted and your parents don't even love you.
Oh, yeah, that's it. Fucking.
Yeah, come on. You got to get the line right. It's Vince Vaughn.
You're fucking crazy. Listen.
So are you. You have a great weekend.
Listen to me. Easy on the Glenn hate. All right. He's our coach. You got to support him a little bit. Fucking support him a little bit.
Can he hire Jim Leonard? Then he'll get my support.
I hope he does too. I get it. Like, and there are things you've said that I agree with, right? Like, the quarterback coach has to go. I don't know what they're doing with that. There are certain things I agree, but like the Glenn hate is so strong, bro. It's like at you. Like,
he's not good, man. What do you want people to do? We can't fake this. You can't put lipstick on a pig, Jay Quest. You're asking fans to be like blindly loyal to a guy that's giving you nothing. He's giving you nothing.
Like, what's crying about it going to do for us at this point?
It's not crying. It's voicing an opinion. And when we evaluate the team and moves that are to be made, you have to consider the head coach. You do.
He gets Jim Leonard. He replaces the quarterback coach with a real quarterback coach. Then what? You happy about that? You happy about that move and the progress?
I think that'd be a great hire, sure. But there's obviously a lot more work to be done. The reality is there's nothing he could do in the offseason that's going to get people to fully buy in other than when the season starts next year, they get off to a good start and they win games.
That's what's going to change it. I don't know.
That's it. So you got to deal with it, man. They went 3-14. These are the consequences of being historically bad.
It's good. For me who watches the show daily, it's hard to listen to 9 months. My daughter's making fun of me. 9 months of, Glenn hate. It's just too strong for me.
It's not hate. And again, it's still fresh. It just happened. We're not going to be talking about firing Aaron Glenn by the time we get to the free agency and we get to the draft and whatnot. But the conversation about him as the head coach influences the draft pick and our feeling as fans. Why do you think most of the fan base was happy Dante Moore went back to school? It's because we know he needs development and Glenn's not equipped to develop him. That's the whole point.
Right.
It comes up. It all goes back to the coach. How could you watch football in today's NFL and look at all these teams that turned it around with their coaches and think that a coach is not just as important as getting the quarterback thing right?
Of course it is. I'm just going to put trust that hopefully he is the right guy. I have no clue, right? There's no stats that are going to back me up, right? There's nothing to say.
No, in fact, the stats say that if he ended up being a good head coach, he'd be one of the biggest outliers in NFL history.
Let me shout out another loser besides you. No, I'm just kidding. Former Rash on Twitter, right? You know that guy?
I do.
You see his tweet today about Darnold and
I'm
clown, dude.
Clown. Again, people love to use the Jets and take shots at them. The Sam Darnold thing is so played out. The Carolina Panthers had him and Baker Mayfield, didn't win anything. The Vikings won 14 games with Sam and let him go. Sam threw 9 touchdowns his last year as a Jet. We all knew he was talented, but again, they weren't going to pick up the 5th-year option off of that. They moved on. It is what it is. They got a 2nd-round pick for him. Again, I'm rooting for Sam. They failed him with Gase and everything that went down, but we can learn from the Sam Darnold thing. That's where I turned my attention. That's why I was thrilled Dante Moore went back to school, for example.
I know, but the hate that we're going to get is frustrating. Like, I'm rooting for Sam too, but part of me wants him to lose because it's going to be like frustrating with the national media coming at the Jets, LOL Jets, and all this bullshit we got to deal with.
So guess what? I defend the Jets there. So where's my Jake? Great job with that one. Huh?
Apple, Stella. Give me an apple for this guy.
Yeah, come on.
All right, dude. All right.
Go lick Glenn's boots, all right?
Listen, he's young Glenn. All right, Jake. And hey, free Nate. All right, get me off the screen and free Nate. It's bullshit.
Well, he's a bootlicker, Glenn butt sniffer, putting perfume on a pig and telling Jake, check this out. He's a bootlicker, Aaron Glenn truther, holding out a rope and trying to sell us on this shit show.
Thank you, Jake Quest. A wonderful conversation. B-Max here. Jake, are you still an A-Rod fan after another loss? I never was not a fan of his. I rooted for him in the playoffs, but it didn't affect me that they lost. I immediately said, please, Texans, beat the Patriots. My allegiances during these playoffs were Rodgers, Darnold, and any team playing New England or Buffalo. So now I'm a Denver fan on Sunday. Jetstream with a super chat. We're going to bring Dom C back on shortly here. Glenn didn't help himself. He flip-flopped more than a fish out of water. When you flip around as a leader, there's nothing more discouraging for everyone else. Bingo. Jay Quest just wants everyone to be like, okay, he's back. Let's kiss his boots and be excited. Like, you got to let fans be pissed off, man. There's an NFL record 10 openings around the league. And I'm very critical of this head coach because he lied about everything he said he was going to implement. And he has no plan. His plan can't be trust me, bro. That's not a plan. So you got to let people be pissed off. That's how this works. Dom C back with us. Hello, Dom.
Hi, Jake.
Did you drive your kid to swim practice? I forget what you said.
Yep. Swim practice at the college right down the road.
Fantastic.
Yes, sir.
Some draft questions for you.
Let's rock.
Jets Johnny wants your take on, I'm not even going to bother trying to pronounce his name. The defensive tackle from Wake Forest. First name is Mateen.
Yeah, Jets Johnny. I don't have anything to offer on him. I'm one person. I can only get through so much. I have evals on 25 defensive linemen, and Mateen did not make the cut. So sorry. I can make something up, but I'm not going to.
High motor. Really, really loves football. First guy in, last guy out. What's your favorite draft cliche?
Oh man, that's a good question. I don't know. I probably use them. My favorite one, I guess, and I kind of use it way too much, is the QBIQ. Right? I don't know if that's cute. I don't know if that's very cliche. But high motor probably is the worst one, the most overused one that drives me crazy. They better have a high motor. But the QBIQ, the high IQ guys, is the cliche that I probably overuse too much.
That's a very good one. Let's see. There was another one I bookmarked for you. Here we go. JD wants to know your opinion of Caden Curry.
His round boiling down to testing. Yeah, I don't know, man. There's some of these guys that I think this probably, shows what this class really is about. Because I think some of these guys we want to make good, or we try to find one good thing in Caden Curry or any of these guys to make them to make them worthy. I don't know if Caden Curry's got it. Like, I think he's got the size. I think he's got the length. He looks like a football player. But, if I'm not mistaken, I don't even know. He wasn't he kicked out of school or suspended from the team for one point? I don't know who asked. I think there's some, there's some issues here with Caden Curry, if I'm not mistaken.
Boogie Down Bronx writes in, all the picks in the world won't matter if you don't have a coach who can't coach. And he wrote that twice. I agree. That hence why I want the Jets to take good players here with their picks and build the roster up. And if Glenn can't win, well, then someone else who hopefully can win will be here next year.
Yeah, and I think that Boogie Down just hit it perfect on why why I would be hesitant about bringing in a quarterback that doesn't have a lot of reps under his belt in. Like, the coaching matters in those situations more so.
Comments, questions, super chats. If you have draft questions, now is a great time to ask them. Andrew C says, "What if Simpson gets those reps after a good week of practice?"
Always. It's always a good week of practice, right? Amen.
I mean, look, just the head coach tells us every week.
We had a great week of practice.
I've suggested to the Jets they let season ticket holders attend practice Wednesday through Friday because we know the product on Sunday is dog crap. But if they have such great practices, build more stands at the Jet facility in Florham Park and let more people watch practice.
Fair point. I don't know if you're going to get a lot of, they're even doing that, Jake, even the practices that are open to camp or open to the public. They're kind of squeezing on that stuff as well. They're starting to take a lot of the other perks away. They used to have this little area where the kids can get in there and get, signatures and get, shake hands with the players, so on and so forth. They're knocking that away. They're tightening up in the wrong spots right now, especially a team that hasn't made the playoffs for 14 years. You should be giving everyone field access to the building, access to, throw baloney at Woody Johnson's, image in on one Jets drive or something like that. You should be doing more to keep these fans engaged because you got a pissed off bunch of Jets fans right these days.
That's right. And there's a lot of pissed off fans raising season ticket prices after 3-14. But, Jay Quest wants us all just to be positive, baby. Oh, yeah. Danger Zone says, thoughts on Thieneman at 44, too high? But I don't even know how to pronounce these names here. I've not gone that deep in the weeds in the draft guide yet.
It's Betcher.
What position?
He's a linebacker.
Okay.
Yeah.
Betcher.
Bryce Betcher.
Your 10th ranked linebacker. You have a 3rd or 4th round grade on the Oregon linebacker.
Yeah, and that might be a little generous. I don't know if he's super physical enough to handle 3-down work. He might be a dime or a nickel dime linebacker and special team ace. Listen, plays with a good motor. I mean that wholeheartedly. I'm not even clicheing. Like he's a high motor player. I just don't know if he's the best athlete, and doesn't do anything at an elite level. But Dylan Thieneman, the safety from Oregon, that's a different story, man. That kid has done a lot over especially over the second half of the season to really bump his stock up. You talk about what he needed to improve on and what he did improve on. You saw it all this year. He showed that he could be he could be a true all around guy. You thought of him more as a kind of a high safety post single high kind of rangy kind of guy, but he showed he can really fit the run from depth in space, break down, tackle, secure. I think he's a lot more physical than I thought he played early in the year. He's a guy that's absolutely skyrocketing. I don't think 44 is too high for him at all. Although I don't know if he would go that high. So I think that would be that's probably right in the range. 44 to 60 is probably where you're going to see Thieneman come off the field. I have him listed as more of a free safety, center field type in his role, but I think that he definitely shown that he can do a lot more. He's a lot more versatile than what I thought and what I remembered from last year.
Hit the like button if you're just tuning in. If you got a draft related question for Dom, write it in. Let's get to some calls. But first, a super chat from the big fella. He says, Dom, the big fella in the house who won a Darrelle Revis signed helmet on our show this week. He says, why is Jermod McCoy projected a first rounder when he hasn't played in over a year? Also, where do you see Max Lewin from Iowa going?
Llewellyn, Iowa, he's going to be a DPR guy. That's to me, he smells day 3. But McCoy's an interesting one, right? He's one of the 2 first round grades that I did assign to the cornerbacks this year. And it's tough because he's right. He didn't play a snap this year, and he had an invite to the Senior Bowl, and he chose to pass on that as well. And he had Jake. So just so you know, he tore his ACL mid-season last year. So I think it was an October ACL tear. Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. He tore it in January, not in October. So he was healthy enough where he could have played, but I guess he and his people, whoever his people were, banked on the fact that the film that you had on Jamal McCoy was enough to not risk re-injuring or putting worse tape on that could kind of hurt his draft stock. Because the stuff that he put on film in 2024 was outstanding. You're talking about a top 5 player in the class. I mean, ideal size, 6 foot, 6'1", 195 pounds, fluid hips, flips, can run, good athlete, physical as hell, can play any style of defense, has that ability to, read quarterbacks, plant his foot and get downhill and disrupt passes when he's in zone with those zone eyes. He can play press man with the best of them. He's physical. He punches. He does that Sauce Gardner thing where he punches through the hands all the time, breaks up passes, turns the ball over. Like, he was a top 5 pick coming into this year. So I think that knee injury in January, he probably said, listen, I'm gonna hang my hat on the film that the teams have. And I think it's, I think it's suffice to say that he'll probably be the first or the second cornerback still taken off the board, even though he hasn't had a whole year of playing. But he's got that, he's got that perfect blend for a cornerback that you want. Extremely high athleticism, arm length, physicality, plays good through the catch point, everything that you want in a cornerback. I think he fits the bill well. The closest thing I think that I've seen to Jamal McCoy's 24 tape was Quinyon Mitchell when he came out of Toledo.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, is 16 too high for him then? Or based on that, it'd be good value if he's healthy.
16 is not too high for him. I just don't know if I'm in the position to take a cornerback first round. I don't think you need to. Listen, like him or not, the guy that we got from Baltimore, I can't think of his name, Stevens. He's going to play next year. He's going to be one of your starters. I happen to think Az Thomas is going to be a really good player in this league. He's going to be your other boundary starter. He just traded for Jarvis Brownlee, who I think does what Glenn wants him to do in the slot or the nickel cornerback thing, in the way he fits the run. I think he sees a lot of what Brian Branch can do in him. So you have your starting cornerbacks, between Brownlee, Az Thomas, and Stevens. So I don't know if a first round corner makes any sort of sense. You want to take one on day 3. You want them to compete with Stiggers and whoever else you have there. Maybe you go sign another depth piece, bring Brandon Eccles back, for depth next year, something like that. Like, I don't mind that, but first round corner, it doesn't make sense to me.
Joe Mike with a super chat. How many sacks would David Bailey have gotten if he was on Miami? Also, I see many mocks where Jets take AJ Halsey, safety or Anthony Hill Jr. at 33.
Yeah. Halsey's that's a little rich for me. I don't think, if I'm taking a safety at 33, I'm probably going to take Thieneman, or maybe I'm going to reach a little bit on Emmanuel McNeil-Warren out of Toledo, who I think is another name that people need to familiarize themselves with. This guy is the real deal. Just because he played in the MAC, not a lot of people know who he is, but he's 6'3", he's 210 pounds. He's rangy. He can play, he can play the post. He can play down in the box. He can, he's rangy enough to play single high if he wanted to, too deep. Probably one of the biggest risers that we'll see from now until April is EMW, Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. One of the guys that we put in for, some interview time. So we'll get a little bit down in the weeds with Emmanuel McNeil-Warren at down in Mobile whenever we make it down there.
If we make it down there.
So, so Halsey's a little too rich for me at 33. Anthony Hill's great. I don't think Anthony Hill will even be there at 33. If I had my guess, I think he's a late first rounder. And Bailey's, I think he led the nation. I think he'd lead the nation if he was on Miami.
The more I like him, Dom, the more I would not be surprised if he ends up being the Jets pick at 2.
David Bailey?
Yeah.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, like I said, I think each one of those 3 edge rushers have strengths and they each have a weakness, So it's to me, it's which one fits your scheme better. So the question I would ask is, who's your defense coordinator and what's your scheme?
Right. That's a big part of all this. 100%.
Yeah.
Let's see. Want to make sure I didn't miss any draft related questions. Get them in if you got something. Derek says, Dom, you're the man. I appreciate you so much for making me smarter about the upcoming draft. It does not go unappreciated, my friend.
Thank you, Derek. I appreciate that, dude.
I like to highlight nice comments because usually people are mean on the internet.
Yeah, that's okay.
Let's get to some calls, shall we? This guy will bring it. He's got a lot to say, and he's got all the time in the world to make his points. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time.
I got gas right now. First mistake they ever did was get rid of Eccles. That was mistake number 1. That was the dumbest move to ever do. And why'd you do that in the first place? Because they're idiots. Aaron Glenn doesn't know what the hell he's doing. He has no clue how to freaking operate a team. It's like you try to give him a game of Battleship. He probably doesn't even know where to put the ships. And I've played Battleship hundreds of times. And I'll tell you something from experience. If you don't know this game, then either hear this. Either keep your chips on the table or get out. It's simple. It's plain English.
Well said by Beast. Dom, your thoughts?
I don't know how to top that. I mean, either know where your ships are or get the hell out. Is that what he said?
That's how I heard it. More of your calls right now. Jordan is next. Hello, Jordan.
What's up, fellas? I love Beast, man. I love that guy. So a couple things I wanted to talk about today was, like anything after the second round, the Jets have been terrible at picking players. So that's the number one thing I want for this offseason is for them to get players that can actually contribute to the team outside of the first and second round. Now, I'm not talking about like come in for a play two. I mean like actual average starters or like playable guys that can actually contribute to the team and score touchdowns, get sacks, get a pick, whatever the case is, because we don't have none of that. Even last year, the guys that they took, A.Z. Thomas was hurt most of the season. Jarvis Brownlee, they traded for him, was hurt. The edge rusher they drafted was terrible. Barron. It's just I want more late round picks. Those where the great players are usually drafted in the later rounds that nobody knows about. So why can't the Jets, find some of those? That's the number one thing I want for this offseason.
Can I, before you get into that, Jordan, let me answer that because I think that's a fair point, and I think it's a point that needs, that is worthy of a discussion. I think it's twofold, right? The first one and the more obvious one is, we heard how Glenn was going to, and his staff were going to coach up and develop these players, and now it's only been 1 year, right? But I think it's safe to say that the majority of these guys that were on the team from last year to this year, I'm not talking about the Juwan Briggs or the Harrison Phillips or those guys who came in. I'm talking about the guys who were here last year. Most of them regressed. I don't think there's been a lot of progression. So you get a guy who's a 5th and a 6th round pick, you either got to get lucky and maybe he slipped through the pipes, or you got to really develop him into and kind of get him up to speed on what you want for what's going to make a good starter. Puka Nacua, he slipped through the cracks. He fell into the perfect situation at the perfect time. He was a 5th rounder, and you get other guys that, that worked their way up, and cut their teeth and then became starters and became viable starters. So that's part one, is that do we have the coaching, or do we have the foundation that can really help develop guys? Say what you want about Robert Saleh. Him and his staff developed young kids.
Yes, they did. On defense, they did.
On defense, they did. Yeah. So, not only the free agents, the Bryce Huffs of the world, but we talked about Brandon Eccles. We talked about Michael Carter. Those are 5th and 6th round picks. Jason Pinnock, although he didn't do it with us, has been a starter his whole career.
JFM was a waiver wire claim. Quincy Williams, waiver wire.
Absolutely. But the second part of this, and I think the one that goes unbeknownst to a lot of people, is remember last year's draft was not Muji. It was Muji making the selections, but it was really with Joe Douglas's staff, they all those scouts and all those guys are contracted through May, right? So as of May 1st, they were all given their walking papers, and now Muji's entire front office and scouting department and his process can be put into play. So I think if he establishes his process, and who knows if his process is better or worse than what was used for Joe Douglas scouts, but a lot of that work, there's no way that you can get hired in January and get ready for a draft in April. Like these reports and the scouting of these players has been done for 2 years now. So they're stuck using last year, the old guards, scouting reports and their advice and the process that they used. Now Muji's got his stuff in pack. So maybe his formula will result in some of those day three, finding those gems on day three. Because he sure as shit missed last year. They reached too high. They were worried about traits on certain traits, and they reached too high for the speed receiver and Arian Smith. And Mayanoa, fine. I think he can develop into. I don't know if he'll ever be a true starter, but I think he's one of those guys that if he's developed right, maybe if he can become something. And Tyler Barron, I don't know what to say about him.
Agree with there, and I appreciate that. One thing that I've heard some other YouTubers talk about was trading up from 16 to 13 with the Rams, because the Rams could be looking to trade back since there's a talent drop off after the what you said, 15 players you had a first round grade on.
That's me. Yeah.
How would you guys feel about about that? Because I like the wide receivers in this class, but I think with the QB situation with this team, I think taking one at 2 is just not smart. I would rather take Bain or Reese at 2 or Bailey at 2. I like him too. Yeah. And then draft wide receiver second.
So I would say this. I don't know if the talent you're getting at 13 is any different than what you're going to get at 16. So I don't know why you would want. I mean, if there's a guy that they have that they're sure is going to get soaked up between 13, 14, and 15, sure.
Like Caleb Downs, for example. If he was still there between, let's say after top 10, if he was still there, would you trade up for him because they're so bad at safety, or would you
he's my second player on the board. So yes, I would trade up for him. I don't know how they're going to feel about him as a him in whatever scheme they want to run. So yeah, I mean, if there's guys like that I think the value is too good, you have to make that phone call. But I mean, realistically, I don't think Caleb Downs is going to be there 13. I think you're looking at, the Rams that have 2 first-round picks this year. They're a team. What are they? One of the last 4 teams left. They're vying for a Super Bowl. So, don't be surprised if the Rams are a sneaky spot for a wide receiver. Devontae Adams not getting any younger. Devontae Adams is not getting any younger.
That's true.
True. And you got to put somebody in there with Puka. So. I think that they could be a Jermon McCoy landing spot. I think they could be a Mekhi Lemon landing spot.
That'd be disgusting if they got Stafford, Puka, and Lemon.
Yeah, it sure would.
All right, last chance here for your super chats. We'll get to your last remaining calls, but I got to run, so we're not going to go as long as we normally go, but appreciate Dom hanging out with us. Ladies and gentlemen, it's PBM time.
Purple about Mike, he loves the dark night. He's got a green pool and he jumps right in. Maybe someday he'll get a brown belt, but for now he's just that purple belt Mike. Purple belt Mike, it might be purple, but he can still kick your dirty ass.
Dom, I know it's way too early for this, but assuming no trades, what would be like your perfect draft at 1, 16, 33, and 45?
Assuming no trades. Oh man. I mean,
not like Mendoza at 2 and like Bain at 16. Like realistically, like what would be like your ideal? Like if you were in the war room and it fell to you.
If it fell perfectly, if everything fell perfectly, I'd say one of the edges at 2. If you want me to get specific, I'll say Reese at 2. I'll say Tyson at 16 because I think he's the one that is most susceptible to drop. I'd say Caleb Banks at 33 and Garrett Nussmeier at 44.
Hell yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. If you think Nussmeier would be the second round pick there. Cool.
I think Nussmeier has a shot to go 44. And the thing I like about it is you have 4 picks in the top 50, which for the record, PBM, I don't think they're using all 4 picks. I think they're going to trade down with one of those picks, probably the 33 to acquire a third rounder, because they don't go from 44 to 104. They have a 60 spot dip. So I expect them to use one of those to trade down. But taking a quarterback and taking a shot at Nussmeier at 44 after getting 3 premium guys before him is fine, because it doesn't preclude you from picking a quarterback in the first round next year. At worst, you get a guy that can compete, and at worst, you get a guy that might be a long-term backup, and at worst, maybe you get a guy that has some, hypothetically here, play along with me. Just say you get Nussmeier at 44, and then take Archman in the first round next year. You trade up and get him. If Nussmeier is good enough, he might be able to get you a draft pick. He might be able to get you a 2028 second or something like that. Or even, maybe even something not that high. Think of what, Tanner McKee's going to get Philadelphia now. He's a backup, and they're going to trade him, and they're going to get him a backup court, a pick for him. So I don't think it's a bad thing to have too much talent in a QB room.
And I know it's a little too early, but I'm a Julian Sang guy. So you think that he has a chance at being the number 1 pick?
I mean, I think he's one. We talked about this way earlier on the show, but I think he's probably one of 8 or 9 guys that I think have a shot. Personally, he'd probably be on the lower end of those 8 or 9 guys for me. I think there's guys that I like a lot better than Julian Sang. But I wouldn't have said the same thing about Cade Klubnik was my favorite quarterback coming into this year. So, so who knows?
Cool. All right. Thanks, dude.
Later, brother.
Mike, great call. Keep it rolling here with your calls. Ladies and gentlemen, we get up close and personal for this next one.
I've got my eye on you. Checkmate me, full screen. It's fireball, whiskey time. David motherfucking T.
Hi, guys.
Hey, David.
Hey, Jake. You're a consummate professional, and your previous callers, the way you deal, and you're very fair to people. Hats off to you.
Thanks, David.
But I'm really thankful. I hope this is a legitimate question for Dom C. So the Senior Bowl is basically an all-star game, right?
It is.
But I mean, as opposed to the pros, I mean they're hoping to get noticed.
They actually try. Correct.
Draft present. Yes. But other than that, I mean, you guys are going down there. I mean, who all goes down there? Does their coaches go down? And I know the media goes down, and all that.
They assign or elect coaches throughout the NFL to coach the 2 teams for the Senior Bowl, and it's what they use it as a coach up situation. So like an offensive coordinator, a guy who's an offensive coordinator will be a head coach in Mobile. A guy who's a positional coach, a quarterback's coach, might be the offensive coordinator. They give the coaches a chance to coach up. A couple years back, Jeff Ulbrich was our defensive coordinator, and he was the head coach of one of the teams. Mike Kafka was the offensive coordinator for the Giants. He was the head coach for one of the teams. So that's how the coaches are picked. Outside of that, there's obviously there's media personalities down there. There's tons of scouts. There's agents. There's NFL coaches, positional coaches, and head coaches that are down there. So there's a lot of people in the
middle. And the other question, if I can, Dom, is you're down there. Can you pick up? How do I want to say this? Like through not only the game, but through practice or interviews or getting to know the players. Can you pick up like a positive on a player?
Absolutely. That's why you go down. I mean, that's why I go down. I try to watch and study and see if what I'm seeing happen in real time really matches what I watched and evaluated on film.
Wow. Yeah. Thank you very much for answering my questions.
Hey, my pleasure, man.
David, enjoy your fireball tonight.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Jake.
I got my Iron UJ. I hope you like my Jets take. You know they call me David T. It's not easy for me to see, but if you bring me full stream, you might like what I had to say. I'll need to get real damn close, cause my vision is dog shit.
David T, everyone. Excellent call.
I don't know if the calls are better or the intro to all these callers. I mean, God, I mean, if that's Gator, man, like shout
All
out
Gator.
Cap,
It's all Gator.
I gotta talk. You gotta connect me with Gator on text. I might need some help from him.
I like it.
Hire him. Yeah.
So Dom, everyone's a scout nowadays. So here is Scout Abella Danger breaking down Fernando Mendoza.
One overall pick, Fernando Mendoza. He's projected to come to Las Vegas to play for the Raiders.
Yeah, I hope
what did
he
you think
does.
about his game?
Oh my gosh, I mean, he's so quick and he's so powerful and so intentional with everything that he does. And I feel like the Raiders would be so lucky to have him. The question is, will he play his first season after being drafted? I don't know, but
Right on.
hopefully he does. I know the world is just dying to get more of that kid. He's so talented.
All right, well, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Will he play his first season with the Raiders? Abella, if he's drafted number 1 overall, he's going to play, right, Dom?
I would assume so. I mean, who would they turn into? AOC? You might as well have Abella Danger play quarterback for the Raiders.
It would be highly entertaining.
Oh, boy.
All right. One last call before the raffle. So hold on. So if you want in on our Joe Namath bobblehead, this is last call to enter. Up next is a man who has a great intro and an even better beard.
Holy shit, look at that beard! He has a beard, he's the man. Ain't no Santa Claus. Papa Jet loves the Jets. He's one handsome son of a bitch. It's Papa Jet.
Hello. You guys got me?
What's up, bud?
Nice to meet you, Dom.
Likewise.
Hey, just 2 quick questions. I don't even know if he'll get drafted because I didn't see him ranked anywhere, but what do you does Malachi Fields have a shot at getting drafted?
Oh, yeah, he'll get drafted for sure. You know, I don't know how high he'll go. I mean, he's definitely a day 3 guy. But you know, his skill set is something that teams, no matter what type of offense, always needs. Like, you know, he's a big, big burly, boundary X type receiver, possession guy, tough at the catch point, big hands, big catch radius, not the most shifty guy, so not going to beat anybody with these releases, but you always need a guy who is a red zone threat, a 50-50 threat, and a guy that, when you need a first down, you can go get it. Think of Allen Robinson, man. Allen Robinson was never like the best receiver. There was a kid that came out of Illinois last year. God, I can't remember his name. He's playing with Denver now. He just got hurt last week. I can't think of his name, but perfect example. Like, big guy, has a specific role on a team and a role that's necessary. Those boundary possession type receivers are always needed on a team. So yeah, I think he'll get drafted for sure.
Okay, yeah, because I'm a Notre Dame fan, and what I noticed was like he was good at going up and getting it, the contested catches, So, and my last question is, because being a Jets fan, I love the offensive line, but I kind of want to get a center too. So, what are your top centers, and where do you think they'll go? Or is it not a good draft for centers?
No, it's actually a pretty good draft for centers. There's a lot of guys. My highest rated one is Brian Parker, who he's from Duke. He actually played tackle at Duke, but similar to the guy that, his predecessor, now I can't think of his name either. He's the center down in Tampa Bay, who was also the Duke tackle and transfer. So he's my highest graded one. He's got a round 2 grade. I think he can play anywhere on the interior, really good. But my favorite pure center is probably Jake Slaughter out of Florida. A little bit smaller, a little bit light in the ass. I probably think he needs a year to get a little heavier. But, when you talk about what Tanner Angstrom wants to do in his offense and have his linemen that are very mobile and can peel off and get to the second level in that IZ or OZ, run scheme. I think that Slaughter hits that nail on the head. Plus, even at 298, 295 pounds, I love the strength and tenacity he plays with and the anchor that he brings, even though, like I said, needs to get a little bit heavier, a little bit, more sand in the pants. But that's a guy I think you can plug on round 3, round 4, and park him for a year, put a year of muscle on his frame while we sit behind Josh Myers, and then you have your center of the future.
Okay, because a lot of guys in the chat mentioned Logan Jones out of Iowa.
Logan, another guy I really, really love. He was and he's, like I said, he's right in that same range, third round, fourth round grade for me. He's a little bit older. He's a little bit smaller in height and length, but probably has a little bit more mass. Again, both of those guys are really, really good zone blocking scheme centers. Logan Jones is, I think you bring smart, high IQ linemen from Iowa, who've been there, who has a 4-year starter. You know that he's going to be successful.
Okay. Well, hey, nice meeting you, and thanks for answering my questions. And thanks, Jake. Have a good weekend.
Papa, you're the man. Great questions. Great job bringing that to the table. It is amazing the popularity of the draft, Dom, because I know like the basic players, but now I'm starting to really get into it, like especially now going to the Senior Bowl. But I feel like football fans have never been more smarter. Or is that a word? Is that the right way to describe it? Have never been more educated on the draft than they are today. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, well, especially this year for the Jets, because, how many – Jake, you have a show twice a day, every day. How many times were people, or how soon were people talking about Mendoza or Moore or Simpson or this and that? Like, they started watching with intent probably or late September.
Yeah. They started 0-7. It was crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, it was
brutal. Well, I'll tell you what, Dom, I'm looking forward to next week. Hopefully we fly out safely Monday and we'll get there, but we'll be there at some point, and we'll have you on the show throughout the week and get your analysis on practice. And it's going to be a great time, man. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I am too. And I guess we'll see you bright and early at LaGuardia on Monday morning.
Pray to the weather gods that our flight is not too delayed, but we're looking forward to it. Dom C. Dom, where can people follow you on X one last time?
Yeah, X at DC_NY Jets. You can also catch all of my written draft content at jetsxfactor.com. The website and all the links and stuff is always all over Twitter as well. Catch me also Monday nights with Ryan, the Talking Jets draft show, Mondays. We float. Usually it's either 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, depending on what bedtime is for our kids. We work around that. So, but now we're going to be in full go with that. Obviously, Monday might be difficult because we'll be down in Mobile, but I'll probably still, hop in and do the show with him. So a lot of good stuff coming up, guys. Just keep an eye and enjoy it, man.
It's Dom C season, baby. We've made it.
It's Jet fan season. That's
right.
what it is.
That's right. Love it. Ladies and gentlemen, Dom C with us. We'll have him on the show all next week. I'll be staying in the same Airbnb with him and Dylan Terraman. So we got them every day next week for their analysis, breaking it all down. It's going to be awesome. You guys are the best. We got a raffle still to come right now. We're going to give away a Namath bobblehead. So if you entered this morning or you entered during the show, you are accounted for. Before we go to the raffle, we bring on our master of raffle ceremony for the final time this week on the program. Ladies and gentlemen, stop what you're doing and say hello to the man we call Bruce Blubber.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to unleash the 2026 Wheel of Champions!
It's time to announce the winners of the weekly Asmaniac Raffle. Let's spin the Jake Asman Show Wheel of Champions and find out which Asmaniac is winning an epic prize.
Here we go. Big thank you to everyone who entered. Big thank you to everyone who gifted during this show. We started off with a ton of memberships in the first 15 minutes. Oscar, Frank, Bucks, Fanatic, Paul. Thank you guys for your 5 or 10 spots. Means a lot. Good luck to everyone. If you win, please email me, asmanjake@gmail.com. Just a heads up, because I'm traveling next week, and then I'm going to San Fran the week after for Super Bowl coverage. I won't be able to ship out your bobblehead till probably the following week. So you might have to wait a little bit, but it's coming, and you will get it. Ladies and gentlemen, now we find out the winner. And the winner is... Frank P. Congratulations to Frank. He's your winner.
Let's go, Jets! Let's go, Jets! Let's go, Jets! Let's go, Jets!
Give it up for Frank in the chat. Frank's always supporting the channel. He's had a lot of raffle success over the last calendar year, so congrats to Frank. Thanks to everyone who entered. You're in the weekly raffle. I'll still do it on Tuesday. I'll do it live from Mobile on one of our shows, and then we'll get you set up for our new set of prizes. Frank's in the chat. He goes, holy crap. You win, Frank. Congratulations. Again, thanks to everyone who tuned in this week. Thank you to Dom C. Great guests are set to join us next week at the Senior Bowl. If there's breaking Jets news over the weekend, we will have a show for you. So be on the lookout. I'm doing my weekly radio show on ESPN New York with Mike Tannenbaum Sunday morning from 8 to noon. So tune into New York Game Day. You'll hear more of me then. Until then, I will talk to you guys soon. JETS. Jets. Let's get to our guy, Lou B, who's on the line. Hello, Lou. What story are you going to say this week that's going to be wildly inappropriate?
I want to be on the 69 team. Let me tell you why. Number one, I know every inch of Long Island, Jake. There's not a street you could say. I performed 69 in Long Island dozens of times, obviously. I own a black van.
What? Calm your freaky down.
I own a black van for abductions. I know what Starbucks that Tomlin goes to. I need to be a fit. I just wanted to be considered for the 69 team.
Oh, hi. Jake wants me to ask you to click on the like button.
That's right, Lane. And if they don't subscribe to the Jake Asman Show, this team may never win another game. Let's go, Jets.